Hey there, Punch It listeners, Shar here. Before we get into this week's episode, I just wanted to give you all a little warning that this week's episode isn't up to snuff in terms of the usual audio quality that you come to expect out of the Nerd Party podcasts. My computer, for whatever reason, decided to use my internal microphone rather than my awesome external microphone, and therefore you're going to hear a sharp contrast in quality between my voice and Tristan's. It stinks, but technical glitches happen every now and then, and that said, I still think that Tristan and I wrote a fantastic conclusion to our Encounter at Farpoint rewrite, so I hope you'll still tune in and enjoy, and of course, as always, we'd love your feedback. Thanks, and now on with the show.
Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Maximum warp. Punch it. Punch it.
Punch it, Bishop!
Punch it.
Punch that shit!
Let's punch it.
Hello, this is Punch It, episode 42. I am your co-host, Tristan Riddell, and with me as always is...
Charlene Schmidt.
Today is a continuation, Char. A part 2, if you will. As if this was a Star Trek episode, they would say last time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
That is correct. So, what we did is we started writing Encounter at Farpoint, the Star Trek The Next Generation premiere, as if it was being produced in 2017. And we said in the episode this was a bit of a challenge because Star Trek The Next Generation came a long way in its 7 years. It started out a little rough, became the beloved series that we love, but it took a little bit of work and a little bit of refining, and in 2017, we don't get that chance. You gotta hit the ground running, or else you are gone. So, with that mindset, we started writing, and we filled up an episode and said, well, you know what, we reached a good point where we hit part 1 of the episode, as well as the podcast, and said, we're doing part 2, it's time for the conclusion.
It really is, and you know what? This was very rude of me, because I just kind of went right into it. How are you, Char? How are you doing?
Well, I am doing just fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm a bit tired, but I'm jazzed to be on the podcast. I'm always jazzed to be doing Punch It with the one and only Charlene Schmidt. And before we get into it, I do want to say that we had a suggestion on Twitter. After we did this episode, after we did last week's episode, we had a suggestion on Twitter that we absolutely 100% need to rewrite Star Trek Nemesis, since we're rewriting Encounter at Farpoint. And that might have a sense of agreeable symmetry, if you know what I'm saying. Like, we're rewriting the very first entry of The Next Generation, and then we'd be rewriting the very last entry of The Next Generation.
I did not think about that when we got that suggestion. I thought it was a great suggestion just because Nemesis could really use some love, and while we're taking on extraordinary challenges, well, there's one. But the bookend aspect, is that what we're going to do next week?
Should we do it next week? Is that too much Star Trek? Is there such a thing?
I don't know. I don't know if there is such a thing as too much Star Trek, but I don't know if we should space it out or not. I think we should contemplate it. Let's give it a few days. Let's let it percolate in our brains, and then we'll decide. And so then when this next podcast comes out, it gets to be a surprise for the listeners.
I think that's a great idea, and everyone, if you want to be cool like some of these other people who are giving us ideas on what to talk about, what to work on, what you can do is you can go to thenerdparty.com/contact, select Punch It from the drop-down menu, fill out the form. That'll send us an email right to our doorstep, and you can also find us on Twitter at @JoinNerdParty, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thenerdparty. It's where the conversation's happening, where you can find all of our previous episodes as well as all of our other shows. We got Star Wars shows, Star Trek shows, Harry Potter shows, General Geek shows, everything that you could possibly imagine. And also you can find me personally on Twitter at @TheInsaneRobin.
And you can find me at the Profanity. And I don't know about you, Tristan, but I love talking Star Trek, so hit me up. Let's talk some Star Trek anytime, all the time.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just go ahead. What we did last week, we're not going to give a blow by blow, but we took the premise. We didn't actually abandon too terribly much. We just kind of tweaked and altered, and we front loaded it a little bit more. Where we see Picard, he's on his previous ship. It's post Stargazer, pre Enterprise. I believe I pulled a name right out of a hat and called it the USS Beijing. And
yes, I believe so.
I don't know why, but I did.
That's okay.
He's in negotiations. He's trying to negotiate peace. He does a great job. It gets noticed by Starfleet. He gets called to HQ. They say, we're totally giving you the Enterprise because you're awesome. He's like, sweet, show me the way. We flash forward a little bit in time, and then we see him on the ship, and he's giving a tour to Data because he wants to get to know Data on a personal level because Data's an interesting character, and blah 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 blah. We get to know the ship a little bit more, and then we go to Farpoint Station, which is not on a planet. It's actually a legit space station, and the reason why they're actually at, like, Riker, Crusher, and Geordi are at Farpoint Station. The reason why they're there is because the Federation Starfleet is interested in incorporating this, annexing this, whatever, merging with this in order to make it Deep Space 5 or Deep Space 6 or something like that.
Right. Anybody but 9, as I recall.
Anyone but 9. And Riker's there to open up negotiations, and then I think Geordi, he gets stopped at the door. They believe that his visor is some sort of surveillance device, and so they hold him, they take it from him.
Like, they kind of, I don't know, they hold him at customs or something to that effect.
Yes, something like that. Exactly, yeah.
And then, Crusher has to come to his defense, basically, and say, hey, this guy needs it, and it's fine. It's not going to gather intelligence or anything. This is not some espionage thing. So let it be. And it shows off her medical expertise. Geordi's impressed that she knows as much as she does about the visor. And so we get to know our characters, and they get to show off a little bit more, and I would say a more productive way than what we got to see in Encounter at Farpoint. I think that's what we're going for, is just more efficiency. You have to have that in 2017 writing.
More motivated business. More,
Yeah, walking and talking.
Yeah, exactly. And so Picard and company, they make it to Farpoint Station. They get the hail. The three of them go onto the ship. They make their rounds. They make their introductions. It's all very similar to what we kind of saw. And one thing that's special about this station, something that we kept from the original Encounter at Farpoint, is that it's powered uniquely. And it's not organically, but it is powered, and it's powered by some sort of wave, like waves that are emanating from a central point. And they've never investigated it before. Like, the people who made the station, they're just kind of like, yeah, it's rough terrain to get there. The waves get stronger and stronger when you get to the source, and we don't have the technology to get there, but we do have the technology to harness it. And so Picard's like, well, it's a good thing we have a Galaxy-class starship, because now we can investigate what this is. Now, what did I call this last week? What made the waves? Did I say
I don't
pulsars?
know.
Or quasars?
You said it was quasars, and I had to correct you and say, dude, no, quasars are way out in the distant universe. They're not anywhere near our galaxy. And then I think pulsars is what you meant.
That is what I meant. You corrected me
okay.
via text, and I was like, dang it, I made a fool of myself in front of the nerds. So hopefully you guys can forgive me.
We're not legit scientists just because we are Star Trek fans.
That's very true, and I'm sure that there's some Star Trek fans out there who believe that they are.
We do not have to be qualified. I mean, many Star Trek fans are scientists and vice versa, but we are not among them.
And so what happens is that they go to investigate it. It's, like I said, it's a rough terrain, it's a rough ride, but the Galaxy-class starship can make it, and that gives Picard the ability to say, let's see what this Galaxy-class starship can do. And then all of a sudden, we realize that they disturbed something. When they get to I'm going to screw this up, pulsars, not quasars. When they get to the pulsars, they trigger something gets tripped, and then I think we decided it was Riker, Yar, and Data.
No, Riker, Yar, and Picard, right? Get taken over to the courtroom because now the trial has begun with Q, correct?
Correct. Yes, the trial has begun, and we have to keep the trial the same style because we see it again in All Good Things.
Absolutely. And honestly, I don't know if I would want to change it.
Neither do I. And so like we're now into it. We gave you that recap, and now we can go full-fledged into it. So we're at the trial, and Q's decked out in his robes. It's this past kind of looking trial, and so it is basically our future, right? Something along those lines.
Yes, in the not too distant future. I want to say late 21st century. Hope I got that right.
Like on Memory Alpha, they describe it as a World War III style courtroom.
Okay, so that's 21st century because in First Contact, they had just gotten over, more or less, World War III.
So post-World War III, but pre-First Contact.
Correct.
All right, so we're in it, and it's, remind me again, Picard, Riker, Yar.
Yes, not Data. We excluded Data.
And it used to be Data, Yar, Picard, and Troy. Now, are we excluding Troy? Like, are we going to give her a moment later? What do you think?
I think we ought to give her a moment in the sun a little bit later in the story. I don't know if she's really essential to this. What is she going to say to Picard about Q that is going to tell us something that we don't know? Like, I can't sense anything out of him, Captain. But
Yeah.
in that really weird accent that she does.
That's all like in the back of the throat. It's all... Yeah. I can't even reproduce it.
I can't emulate it if I tried.
Okay, so now here's the thing, is that in Encounter at Farpoint, Q was a little vague. Like, they were never supposed to make it out this far. Like, that's the whole deal. But the thing is that they kind of already were there, and Farpoint Station is there, so another species is out that far. And I'm sure that they're not the first humans to be at Farpoint Station. And
yes. So we were trying to figure out why now? Why is Q putting humanity on trial now?
I think it's the Enterprise. I think this is the most advanced starship in the fleet. And it has the best of the best of the best in its crew. And they were the first ship, the first sentient beings enabled to traverse the crazy waves created by the pulsars. And if there are scientists out there listening, these are, and you're saying, oh, well, pulsars don't create that kind of waves or whatever. Shut up. All right. They're special pulsars that we've never encountered before.
Fair enough. I can go along with that.
And so that's what I'm thinking, is that in Star Trek, there's two things that I think they mainly pride themselves in. It's their unity of the human race as well as other alien beings, like them coming together, being a federation, and also the advancement in technology, replicators, transporters, starships, everything like that. And so the only way that you can create something as powerful as a Galaxy-class starship is if you unite as a federation and you pool the minds of hundreds of worlds and trillions of people. Mm-hmm. And so
the best and the brightest, right?
Exactly. And so Q recognizes this. The Q Continuum recognizes this. And since the Galaxy-class starship is the epitome of everything that is the Federation, we got families on the ship. We got a diplomat at the helm. We got the most advanced engine, the most advanced sensors, the most advanced everything. And it is the flagship of this unifying federation of over 150 planets at this time, or something like that.
Something like that. Plus, we have a Klingon on board.
Yes,
we have a variety of non-human races all working and acting together as one for a common greater good.
Love it.
So is Q's approach going to be, we never really expected you to get out this far and make it this far. Humanity should have destroyed itself centuries ago.
And maybe even that's why that's set in World War III, post-World War III courtroom. And maybe he even references First Contact, where he doesn't... I know that like the idea and the concept of First Contact hasn't happened yet, but
we're retconning a little if we go here.
I know, but the thing is, he doesn't mention Vulcans, but maybe we can like slip in some retcon where he says, he's like, you never should have united like this. You are centuries ahead of your time of what we thought you were going to be. And if it wasn't for First Contact, you never would have made it this far. It's just a throwaway reference.
Oh, I like it because we know. Well, we learned that Zephyr Cochrane invented the warp drive,
Right.
basically, from the original series. Do we know that he made first contact from the original series?
No. No.
Okay. So, that is some retconning, but hey, go with it. We're making this up.
So,
Q, his goal is what?
yeah, I think that's the thing. What's his goal? What's he trying to prove? What's he trying to say? Like, because in the original Encounter Farpoint, his whole thing was, we didn't think you were going to make it out this far, this fast, and you're not ready for what's to come. With our version, it's you have advanced too quickly, which is kind of the same thing.
Kind of.
Little
They're in the
bit.
same family tree. Yeah. Same
Little
umbrella.
bit. Like, where like he focuses on distance, we're focusing on advancement of the species.
Right. We're talking about achievement. So is Q kind of going for, can you keep up this pace? Are you really ready to be this far out? Maybe you want to slow down. Or what if there's things in the universe you have not even conceived of? How are you going to deal with that? You think you're advanced now? Oh, you just wait until you learn more.
What if you barely survived as a species in World War III? What if this causes a World War IV or something like that?
What if what causes World War IV?
Them going out this far. You know, like them exploring, meeting new species, exploring strange new worlds and everything like that. Like, what if this...
Okay. So dialogue-wise, if Q is saying things like, what if the galaxy goes to war against you? Or what if there are forces way more powerful than you that could just destroy you in the blink of an eye? How are you going to deal with that?
Mhm.
I think Picard could come back and say, hey, look, we have forged peace with a lot of our enemies as we have explored space. We have made peace with the Klingons. The Romulans are a little quiet, but we've managed to handle them. He could throw out a couple of examples like that.
Yeah,
And say, I think we are ready. And I think maybe that is where Q then therefore says, all right, prove it. The trial is on.
So are we okay with that? Like, we are okay with me like referencing the whole World War IV ordeal?
Well,
Like,
I don't want to say World War IV because that's very Earth-centric of us.
True,
I'm
very
thinking
true.
we got to have like galactic war, intergalactic, interstellar,
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, what if he talks about how, what if the very thing that you're striving for, unification of the quadrant, is the very thing that unravels and destroys it? And then maybe as we're watching Deep Space Nine, we start to understand what Q was talking about.
Ooh.
Like, maybe that's what Q was talking about the entire time.
Right. Now this is something that we can only figure out in retrospect.
Yes, this is not exactly retconning, because Q would be very vague here. He wouldn't talk about the changelings. He wouldn't talk about the Gamma Quadrant. He wouldn't talk about the Founders or the Dominion or anything like that.
Right.
He would just talk
But
about...
let's, like, hypothetically, what if that did plant the seed for Deep Space Nine, though? How wicked would that be?
I think that would be really, really cool. And then also, Q could play the whole, I'm just trying to protect you angle. Like, we've been...
He's the good guy.
Yeah, he's the quote-unquote good guy. He's the one who's like, listen, I like humans. I love the Federation. You guys just aren't ready yet. And...
We know he's got a crush on Jean-Luc.
So, like... yeah, I'm moving on past that. But, okay, so what if he plays that card where he's very condescending? Which, I mean, he is. Q is a very condescending being.
Well, of course, he's omnipotent. He's all-powerful.
Right, and so John...
These are little ants.
Yeah, Jean-Luc doesn't like having training wheels on. He's like, that's the entire reason why he's in Starfleet. I can't remember exactly if there was a threat in Farpoint, and I apologize for this because I just watched it, but maybe that's the reason why I'm having this vague conception of it, because there wasn't really a threat. It was just Q saying, hey, I charge you for being a savage race. And he didn't actually give the threat until All Good Things, where he said, he's like, you're not just going to be denied existence. You're not just going to be denied travels through space. You're going to be denied existence.
Yeah, Encounter at Farpoint, what are the stakes, really? Q was really vague. Oh, my gosh. So
Let's make the stakes.
Yes, let's do that. Let's actually give this a little more structure.
okay, so let's give All Good Things even a little bit more weight, where maybe this is the threat of denied travel through space. And that's what makes Picard bring it up again at All Good Things. He's like, are you going to deny us travel through space? And then Q says, no, I'm going to deny your very existence.
Right, and then he can take it that step further. This is a much more logical progression of that. So great.
So we don't hear the existence part in our episode. What we hear is denied travel.
Yes. So what is Q going to do? Is he just going to bomb us into the Dark Ages? Is he going to make warp drive impossible? Because we don't really know that Q is an omnipotent being quite yet. We just know that he's just this guy. He could do anything, or he could do very little.
I don't think we need to get too terribly specific.
Okay.
I think maybe Picard even asks that, like, how would you keep us that way? And that's kind of where he explains what the continuum is.
Okay. And then we're learning about the continuum much earlier on.
Yeah, we get a little bit more. He said, it's like, we're all powerful. We are everywhere. We can stop you with whatever means we deem necessary. Maybe he can even give a few examples. He's like, we can create a barrier around your solar system. We can strip every single warp drive from existence. We could
do we do
bring
that?
you back to quadrupeds, or something like that.
Like, does he make an example of the Enterprise? Does he wreak havoc on the Enterprise? And the crew does not know why things are going on, and they are.
I don't want to do that too terribly much, because the reason why is because we need to be impressed by this ship. This needs to be... Because that's the thing, like, we showcase this incredibly impressive starship, and it's the most advanced thing, and that's the entire reason what triggers Q. And because we don't want to do the Worf syndrome, where Worf is the badass, but then he gets the crap kicked out of him at every single episode.
I was just going to mention that as the example of, are we going to do to the Enterprise what happens to Worf almost every single week? Because you're right, we do want this to still have some status as a really powerful ship, but do you show that it is still weak by Q mucking with it? But yeah, the whole Worf factor, that whole thing, it makes me reluctant to want to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe Q can just say something. He can just punch you back into oblivion and think nothing of it.
Ooh, what if, since this is 2017, what if, I love that visual of punch you into oblivion. What if he kind of pushes Picard physically? Like, he pushes Picard's chest, and then everything blurs real quick and he's thrown back, but then all of a sudden he's back on Earth, or he's back in time, or he's back in the Stone Age, but everybody's wearing Starfleet uniforms and there's no technology, or it's an apocalypse. I don't know, something weird, something that shows Picard Q is not screwing around and he can do whatever he wants.
Okay, I kind of like it. I also have a vision of, like you mentioned, seeing Earth back in the Stone Age. What if you watch Earth in the 24th century become that? Just completely devolve somehow. Just visually fade from one thing to the other, and all of a sudden, everything that humanity has worked for in the last several centuries, gone. You have to rebuild.
Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
I think we're absolutely saying the same thing. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we have therefore displayed the threat. And I think that's about as much as we need to know about Q at this point. We don't need to go into too many details. We know that he's powerful, and he can really screw with us if he wants. So what is the challenge then?
Yes, so what is the challenge? No, do we keep it centered around Farpoint Station? Is that the challenge? Getting that into the Federation, or like Picard thinks that it's into the Federation, or getting it into Starfleet, and there seems to be something more. Do they need to leave Farpoint Station and do something else? What do you think?
I wonder at this point if we need to integrate a little bit about these pulsar-esque or whatever energy things that are running Farpoint Station. I wonder if we need to bring that into the story and tie this with the Q plot, just so we can have a little bit of resolution here. Because otherwise, where are we going with that? We can't just drop it.
Yeah, I don't know, because in my head, I introduced it mainly just for it to be a trigger for Q. Like it was a boundary point.
I think we need more than that. Now, the fact that the Enterprise's really sensitive sensors picked it up, that's one thing, but we need to develop that more if we're actually going to run with it, I think. What if we did take a little bit of what we saw in Encounter at Farpoint, where these are not actually pulsars? What if these are energy beings, previously undetectable, and they eventually figure out, oh, this isn't just energy, this is life, this is a sentient being. And maybe these pulsars, now that they know that it's been detected and triggered, maybe it's reacting in a certain way that they figure out it's a form of communication. And maybe the trial is recognizing this form of life that doesn't speak a known language, does not communicate the way that we do, is not a biped, comprehends the universe in a completely different light, and still respecting the fact that it is life and letting it live its life. I don't know.
But that is exactly to the T. Cross the T, dot the I's, exactly what Encounter Farpoint is.
Well, more or less, yeah, minus Grappler Zorn, which is fine.
Yeah, all you're doing is taking out Zorn and moving the organic beings off of a planet deeper into space. And then we've basically we've changed very little.
Yeah.
I would like to take it back to the station. I want to take it back to the station. I want to make it a little bit more intimate, a little bit more of a mystery, where I love Star Trek is all about identifying things that we don't know exist and relating with things that we didn't think that we could relate with. But I kind of, for some reason, something pops into my brain where, what if the mystery of Farpoint Station, the reason why it works so well is it's not so much the pulsars, the energy waves, yeah, but maybe there is a disposable workforce on Farpoint Station that is key in collecting the waves. So it's not the pulsars themselves, but some sort of workforce, maybe some sort of alien race that collect the waves. I want to say that they're corporeal. I want to say maybe they're bipeds, maybe they're not. I don't know. But
you want to make it more direct.
I do. I want to make it more direct. I know some people might hate that because Star Trek is all about the sci-fi and the subtlety and not hitting you over the head with it, even though sometimes they did in Star Trek. But with this one, I want to make it more, I guess, does that take away some of the specialness of it, where we make it more direct and more obvious, where, of course, Picard and company wouldn't stand for the enslavement and forced labor of an alien race.
Right. I'm thinking Measure of a Man and things like the holographic miners on Voyager, where all the EMH Mark 1s went. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we've already done that, but in this kind of timeline, no, we have not. However, I do feel that is too direct. I think we do need a little bit of Star Trek mystique.
Okay. Because I was thinking more Equinox than Measure of a Man.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have to go that way. I mean, absolutely, we don't have to go that way. We can.
Okay, but
what is the mystery? What's the catch? What is different about Farpoint Station besides just collecting energy in a different way?
Right. This is kind of the hard part. Is how do you have this integrate with Q's challenge in a Star Trek context and make it relevant with a message?
So, Char, what about this? Okay, so instead of going like the Equinox route or the Measure of a Man route and having disposable people in the station, and instead of saying that the pulsars are the beings, kind of like the original Farpoint Station, what if we make it a little bit more indirect, like you said, like a little less in your face, where the pulsars aren't the organic beings, the pulsars aren't the beings themselves, but the waves are generated from the pulsars, and the pulsars are a gateway to another dimension, another realm of existence, another realm of space, or something like that, something that we've never seen before. But somehow, when Farpoint Station collects the energy, it's actually taking it away from this other realm that we know very little about, but we know that it's harmful.
Oh, like it's somehow maybe, I don't know, tearing through subspace or something and destroying whatever is on the other end, or sucking the life out of it. And maybe that is the danger to Farpoint Station, is after a while, eventually Farpoint is going to be in danger of imploding. I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense physics-wise, but do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Well, it's Star Trek physics. It never makes any sense. But I guess I'm a little resistant to that, because I think where we're going is we need to make Picard make the choice that's not the best for even his reality or his Federation or his realm.
Yes, you are right. What he needs to do is, with absolutely nothing to lose, or actually with absolutely nothing to gain and actually lose, he has to decide for the betterment of whatever is on the other side. Maybe he doesn't even know. And he's just simply respecting it.
And maybe this is where Troy comes in. The reason why they know that there's something on the other side is Troy uses her "I can feel something."
Pain and despair.
Pain.
That was Kirk.
And so that... I think that was Spock. No, that was Spock.
No, I thought that was... Oh, wait. I don't know.
With the Horda? Yeah, Spock's...
Oh, that was Spock. Okay. I'm getting everybody confused.
So yeah, I'm glad that you're on board with me here.
I'm glad we figured this out.
So Farpoint Station, but the thing is, like, whoever is in charge of Farpoint Station, or whoever Riker was negotiating with, Picard, and this would work well towards the beginning too, where Picard, the administrators say, like, listen, if you cut off our energy supply, we're going to have to find something new, and we're not going to let you make this Deep Space Five.
Right. And Picard says, fine, and we will help you relocate.
And he knows that, and then they say isn't that why you were brought out here? Isn't that why you were sent here, is to coordinate this, bring it in? And then, so I'm not saying we get there yet, but this also ties in directly to why he got the Enterprise, where HQ, the admirals, contact him via subspace, and they're like, what the hell happened? This was your first mission on the Enterprise. We sent you out there to make sure that Farpoint Station became Deep Space Five, and you didn't achieve it. Why should we trust you with a second mission? And that's where Picard gets indignant and says, you put me here to make the decision, not just to follow orders.
And are we not out here to explore strange new worlds? Does that also not mean respecting strange new worlds, even if it comes at a cost to us?
To our own personal gain, absolutely.
And so, I mean, there's a very Star Trek mission and message and all of that.
And then all of a sudden we're transported back to the courtroom.
Yes. I love it. They passed.
Mm-hmm.
For now. But of course, there's always got to be that promise that Q will make a return, because he does. But he got out of this one, and they may continue to explore for the time being. We will see you around.
Out there. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, there's, I think, the big crux of our story. Now, I want to talk just for a short moment about little moments. We mentioned Troy earlier. We've not given her much to do. We didn't give Yara a whole lot to do either. But I think one thing we should keep from Encounter at Farpoint is the little conversation they had in each other's mind. We want to know that there's a little something going on between these two from the get-go. Yes?
From Riker and Troy.
Absolutely. They are Imzadi.
Oh, 100%. You know me. You know I love Riker. You know I love Riker and Troy, and they're my favorite relationship. Oh, I ship them hard, and it's I very much am a fan of that. Very much so. And
okay, and maybe we even do a little more with that to just emphasize it that much more. Just like, I don't know, how intimate they are, how difficult it is to suddenly see each other again, not expecting it.
I would love to see them lose control a little bit, but then have to stop themselves. Make it even sexier.
Ooh, sexy time.
It's
man, okay,
2017,
Enterprise has rubbed off just a little bit, but I'm actually okay with it, because I do think that Riker and Troy, this kind of falls in line with their relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
them just kind of falling in it and then falling out of it and then swinging around for a little while. Because they were totally swingers. They were, in my mind, until they finally decided to settle down and tie the knot.
Yeah, they relapsed constantly, and so let's see this first time that they relapse.
I love it. And then maybe they remember why they split up. I mean, they're both here to do a job. They've got careers going. Just because they're on the same ship, this is not going to make it easier. It's going to make it harder.
So we have a moment with Riker gets multiple moments in the sun. Troy gets this moment as well as the moment where she discovers what's on the other side of the pulsars. And Data has this moment with the tour of the ship. Picard has several moments. Geordi has a moment. Crusher has a moment. Worf, I don't know if he has room to really have too much going on.
Yeah, and the thing is I don't know if we have to do a complete moment for everybody in the first episode. There's going to be plenty more of time for everybody to shine in the sun a little bit.
What if we have a scene in there where Worf and Yar are training together?
Like maybe that is that kind of our holodeck scene where we get introduced to the holodeck?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm glad that you went there because I think that's a natural...
Instead of Wesley and Data. We don't need Data whistling. Somebody asked me on Twitter, does Data still whistle in your Encounter at Farpoint rewrite? And I said, I don't know. You'll have to listen and find out. My answer is no, don't care. I don't like whistling.
No, not on this one. No, I don't think it's that important. But yeah, that's how we show the hologram where we're in the thick of it, where it's not a scene where we see Riker walk in where we know it's fake. We smash cut to a scene where maybe that's the introduction to Worf, where Yar is fighting a Klingon.
Ooh, and we don't really know why at first, that he's a Starfleet officer even.
We have no idea that Worf is a Starfleet officer, and she's fighting. They're going she's about to quote unquote lose her life, and then we hear end program, and then it fades away. And then we hear Lieutenant Worf, and he goes, "Yes, sir." And
I love it.
That's when we know. We're like, "Holy crap! Oh, a Klingon officer! Are you kidding me?"
Right. And then these two, man, they are mad skills fighters. And maybe even Worf asks Yar, "Where did you learn to train like that?" And then she can have her little bit of, "Oh, I lived on a horrible planet, rape gangs, yada yada yada," her spiel.
Yeah, exact. Yes, I think that's a great introduction for... Dude, I wish that happened. That is such a good introduction.
Oh, me too. Could you imagine, say they have a holographic program where maybe they're in some arena or something, It's like Sinkatsi in the holodeck, though. People are watching, people are cheering, there's blood. It's a mad race to the death almost, except, of course, it's on the holodeck.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's why it shows off the holodeck, shows off their skills, shows off their backstories, gives a really cool reveal to a Klingon officer, on the Enterprise, which is a big deal. And
gives them something to do, introduces these characters a little bit, and gives them one little moment in the sun. We have done our job.
Everybody has a moment, everybody's introduced, and we know who everybody is and what their skills are.
We did it.
I'm
impressed with us, Tristan. We did it. Yes.
All right, everyone. So please let us know what you thought of this episode. Did you like our version of Encounter at Farpoint? Now, while we don't like the original, we still love the show.
Absolutely. Can't say that enough.
Hopefully you didn't see our talk as disrespect for the next generation, because that is not what it is. The only reason why we're doing this is because we respect the series so much and we wanted to take a different spin with the premiere episode. So
right, we're doing this because we love it.
Absolutely. So you heard all of our contact info at the top of the show, and all you need to know is go to thenerdparty.com for more. And whether we're going to talk about Nemesis next week or not, whatever we're going to do, we're going to punch it.
It's going to get so punched, just like this episode.
Ready for warp, sir. Let's punch it.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.